Communication is defined as the process of generating meaning by sending and receiving symbolic cues that are influenced by multiple contexts. Communication is inescapable, irreversible, complicated, symbolic, and contextual. We communicate every day in our lives in some form or another. Often how we communicate can be influenced by different rules and norms, such as the relationship of the person we're communicating with or the environment in which we are communicating. There are 5 basic principles of communication. Communication is inescapable. We're always communicating through groups, public speaking, or non-verbally, such as through eye contact, tone, and body language. We communicate every day of our life, even with our spouse, our friends, and our co-workers. Ultimately, communication is unavoidable. Communication is also irreversible. Once we say something, we can't take it back. If I say something hurtful to somebody because I'm mad or upset and it hurts their feelings, I can't take that back. The damage is done. Communication is also complicated. Everyone has different levels of experience in communicating. Language and cultural differences play a role in how we communicate. My family owned a Mexican restaurant, and there have been many times where there were language barriers because there were employees who didn't speak English, and it created a problem with us communicating with them effectively. Communication is also symbolic. We communicate through use of symbols, could be verbally or non-verbally. Non-verbally, such as body language, the tone in which we communicate, and the vibe also that we give off can affect the way that the people respond when we communicate and how they perceive what we're trying to say to them. Communication occurs in a variety of contexts. The relationship between the people conversing, the situation and the environment of which we're conversing, all play a role in how we communicate. If someone calls me while I'm at work and they tell me that they're upset with me, the way that I react may be different than the way that I will react if I was at home. Communication is integrated into all parts of our life. Communication is part of our academics. We communicate every day and interact with our classmates, our professors, and our groups. Learning communication and through these interactions is building a foundation of good communications for our future. We also communicate professionally. Employers appreciate people who have good communication skills and have the ability to communicate efficiently and effectively. When applying for a job, someone who has a foundation of communication would stand out among other applicants who have no experience with communication. Communication is also part of our personal life. We communicate every day with our friends, our spouse, our co-workers, and lastly, communication is also a civic part of our life. Civic engagement refers to working to make a difference in our community through engaging in our community to make a positive influence in our community. Choosing a political party, advocating for a president is something we can relate to now as the election coming up, is also part of being a civic part of communication. Today I perform my civic duty by voting. Communication has roles and norms. Phatic communication is scripted verbal interaction that is intended to establish a social bond rather than to have any meaning. If I pass somebody in Walmart that I know from my church and I say, "Hey, how are you doing?" and they say, "Hey, great, how are you?" and I say, "Fine," and we keep going, that is more of a phatic communication. There's no meaning behind it. I'm just more socially bonded than I am establishing a deep communication. We know that we cannot avoid communication. It surrounds us daily. Our surroundings, relationships, and experiences all contribute to how we communicate. Remember the next time that you get angry, that once you say something, you can't take it back. Also remember that we're all different. We all have different opinions, views, and backgrounds. We must remember when we communicate to try to communicate as effectively as possible. By building foundations on communication like we're doing now, we will become better and more effective communicators. Aristotle said in a book that he wrote, there's a quote, and it said, "It is through our voice, our ability to communicate, that we engage with the world around us, participating in our society, and become a virtuous citizen."